Hey, welcome back to another episode of YOML, a year of magical learning. Today we have an exciting fitting for our company, a book. Chris, why don't you introduce the book and we'll see how fitting it is for company.
Yeah, have you read this one, by the way? I don't know
No,
if
I
you did.
haven't.
Okay. This is a book called Tribe, on homecoming and belonging by the author Sebastian Junger. It's an interesting book that combines history and psychology and the anthropology of what we can learn from tribal societies about loyalty, belonging, our eternal human quest for meaning. The book itself, it's a pretty short read. I found it actually be pretty powerful. I really enjoyed this one. For me personally, I'm just kind of jumping right into the reflection. I connected with it immediately because it talked a lot about returning Vietnam veterans and things like that that left a heightened traumatic environment where they were, had a very unique cause and mission that they had shared with their band of brothers and sisters and arms or whatever, what they were doing. And then they would come home. The sense of belonging and connection that they felt in those heightened senses of awareness environments and traumatic inducing environments, it was intense. And they come back to their normal life, I guess, in their civilian life, and they just have this huge disconnect from what they were experiencing of all these amazing human range of human emotions and connection with their people around them to this massive disconnection with everybody around them. And for me, that resonated immensely, specifically around my family's experience in the NICU with our daughter, Amelia. The doctors and nurses and respiratory therapists and OT and PTs and the whole staff, even the people that you walk in the door every single day that are scanning your stuff through security. We went through a lot together with a lot of those people, and not only with our daughter, but with our son as well. The heightened amount of purpose, like this is all about saving our daughter's life and trying to give her a chance at a shot at life, connection and human empathy and problem solving and helping each other. It's like when the situations are like that and you're in that kind of a traumatic environment like war or like in the NICU or whatever it may be, it brings out the best of humanity. It's weird. It's bizarre. It's like everything that we're great deep down in, these kind of environments really can pull that out of you. And then once you've experienced something like that and you've some of these doctors and nurses are some of the probably closest relationships I'll ever have in my life. I mean, I consider myself lucky to have a lot of very, very close friends. I don't think any of them will ever know me as well as some of those doctors and nurses knew me for only a short period of time in my life. And no matter where I go or whatever I do, I will never probably have that. It'll be rare if I ever find that connection ever again with other people because we were so united around a cause and all the human range of emotions were palpable all day, every day. And I mean, it was something that I personally felt very powerfully. And then going back into, I'm not a war veteran or anything like that, but going back into quote unquote civilian life after being in that immersive environment for about 6 months of our life over the course of a year, it felt weird. I actually felt disconnected from other people around me. I felt like didn't really know what to talk to other people about. I felt like, only people that really understood how I feel in that moment was people that, I wasn't around and I couldn't see and couldn't talk to. And hey, I don't know. It was weird. A lot of this book talked a lot about the psychology of that and the history of, our human need for that connection and how a lot of these tribes, or why tribes are so important to people. And for me, the reflection title I wrote on this one was every tribe needs a shared mission to thrive. And when I think back of my time in the NICU, our shared mission was Amelia. It was giving her a chance at a shot of life, and we were that was 100% all of our singular focus every day, all day. And, if you're a war veteran, I'm assuming your mission is to support your country and make sure you get your brothers and sisters in arms home, or whatever that may be. I've heard this in multiple different books before, like in World War II, when the Nazis were bombing England and those people that were having the air raid sirens every single day in Britain, they felt this incredible sense of belonging, of national pride, or we all after 9/11. I mean, I don't know about you, but I felt it just what it meant to be an American, and how special it is to be an American after 9/11. Or they talked about Croatia, I think it was Croatia or Serbia, when they had their civil war there and, there was genocide going on and lots of turmoil in the country in the late 80s and early 90s. And I remember that as a kid, just barely, but he interviewed some people that were in that environment and they missed it. They felt it, even though it was awful. It was some of the fondest memories they had, because it was like the range of humanity that they were experiencing was something special. But it reminded us all of how we're so special anyway as a species, just that shared connection. And bring this full circle to what we're trying to do. My mission in life and our shared mission is about living a balanced life and helping others to find balance in their own life. So we're working really hard to try to build a tribe of people that care about the same thing. And if we can unite enough people that care about that around purpose, then I know magic will happen eventually. Like if we keep trying to lock in and focus in and try to help each other out and work towards something greater than just ourselves, eventually something great will happen. That was the reflection overall. But the question I threw out there was, what's your tribe's mission? I know what your tribe's mission is because it's our shared tribe, but for anybody listening and something to think about, I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so for me, I think I like to add that every person needs a tribe, right? And every
Agreed.
tribe has a shared mission, because it all comes down to each person has a mission. And because that mission is the same, then because it's the same, you unite and you become a tribe,
Agreed.
right? Because the mission is the arrow that points in the
Right.
directions that these people are going forward with. Talking about the soldiers or the NICU is the emotions that is being on overdrive. And it's over heightened to the point where your emotion is so high. And because emotions are like fire, it actually sparks other emotions to elevate as well.
Right.
So when you talk to the security guard, the gate guard, or the doctor, the OT, the nurses, right? Your emotions affects them and it affects you. And so I think, on that level, when you're on that overdrive sensations, right? Your emotions is very like they influence other people.
Yeah.
And when you have the emotion, you feel the connections. And then
Yeah.
when the emotion goes away and you go back, right? It's just like, well, you did get disconnected. I think for the most part, people connect on emotion, not on logic.
100% agree. I mean,
Right.
it's all emotion. Actually, as a matter of fact, I'm probably sure you've heard this phrase before, but in the most trying times of your life, it's when you realize, you learn what your real character is. I know for me personally, not only did Amelia demonstrate to me what it meant to be a truly virtuous person in general, I also discovered for myself a lot of my values that I found in that time.
Right.
Because it just naturally started coming out of you. It was almost like spontaneous. It was like, I don't know
I
where
mean,
that,
to me,
yeah.
emotion is like the most fundamental, the most foundational level of humanity. And the reason why, like, when we talk about 9/11, right? Because you are an American, you
Right.
learn what it is like to be an American. You feel that you're American.
Yeah.
Another country is different, but
Everybody did.
you're
Yeah.
American. You feel like what it is to be American, because
Right.
at the fundamental, where you are Democrats or Republicans or whatever, you stand united. It doesn't matter if you're, you know, an enemy or whatever. When 9/11 happened, you stand united, because all the layers is above of that emotion, it's
Right.
been obliterated. And the only thing that's left is emotion, and that's what you connect on. So you don't bicker about the Republican versus Democrats, or this and that, because at the deep level, the emotion is the same.
Right.
And you felt the sense of, the sense a sense of belonging.
Right.
You,
You do.
you
Yeah.
think back about on 9/11, because I can't now share you the NICU experience as much as you would have, but think about the people that is in the same concern, same you know outcome searching mindset. They're gonna have the same emotion as you, and that's where you connect with them, regardless whether or not you've known them before. Like the nurses that you knew in the NICU, they were strangers to you before,
Right.
but because you and they have the same mission, the same wish on that outcome, you connected at a deeper level. And
Right.
that's why you felt like you knew them more than anyone else. To me, that is the sense of what humanity on a deep level is like. If you remove all the layers that, you talking about, like the self-esteem and all this thing on
Right.
top of it, right?
Right.
Then you know what humanity is really about. That's the gene that make us this super tribe
Right.
among all the animals and all the plants and all the other kingdoms on earth. Is
Right.
because we have that uniqueness to connect when things is really kind of get to the core of it.
Yeah. We want to help each other. Like we want, I don't know what it is. It's like innate, like, when you have a shared commonality with somebody and a shared goal and a shared mission, you want to
Mhm.
help. We all believe in America, otherwise we wouldn't be here, right?
Right.
And
Right.
on some level, I mean, we might argue about semantics, like you said, here and there about
Right, but the
what that
only
looks like
only
going forward.
only after that emotional layer has been
Right.
suppressed.
Exactly.
Right, suppress that, then the other layer comes about saying, hey, there's differences between me and you. Oh, I don't like the way that you look, or I don't like the way that you act, or I don't like the way that you think, whatever. It's
Right.
this layer, the superfluous layer that's on top of the core elements. What makes us human is the connections. The
Exactly.
emotions connects us.
And
I think,
that's what,
if we can take that concept that we learn and find the people who have the same mission, you're gonna feel a sense of belonging. You feel safe, you feel angry, you feel peace. And I think our mission is to live life on purpose. Find your purpose and live the life. Once you have that mission, the people that you surround yourself with inside of company, inside of whatever program you're in, you're gonna feel like you belong. You feel like this is home, because you connect on a level of what it means to belong to a tribe. And I think every person needs to have a tribe. That tribe has a shared mission. That tribe will grow, will thrive.
Agreed. I also think it's the tribe's job to simulate an activity where that connection can be generated around that shared mission as well, i.e. our core values quest. Like that's supposed to be like champion people, welcoming. I think back to my fraternity that I joined when I was in college. We had this thing called our initiation period for it was like a 12-week thing. And then the last week was what they called Hell Week. It really was hell. It was awful. It was a disaster. You didn't sleep. You took cold showers every single day. You barely ate. You did calisthenics all the time. You went on these crazy scavenger hunts, woken up at 2 a.m. in the morning. And I can't even tell you all the other crap that happened to us. It was insane. But I know for a fact that if I walked into the room with any of the 24 pledge brothers that I went through Hell Week with, we immediately know. I mean, some of them I probably haven't talked to since I graduated college, or even since that week. No matter what, we always know as soon as you see them, you just know. Like Aaron Snow, one of those people that went through that process with me. I will always be connected to him.
You initiate a deep connection with them, because when you talk about Hell Week, right? Similar to the war, like when you talk about Hell Week, you have a common enemy that makes you unite. And once you unite, you have this sense of connectivity that's beyond just like, hey, because when you're in that sense of really in overdrive state of mind, right? Your emotion is really elevated, and that allows you to connect. And once you connect, right, even now when you talk to Snow or your fraternity brothers, right, you knew them. You knew them without even saying much. So same thing with people, the soldiers that fights, in Vietnam, in Korea, in Afghanistan. They're not fighting for the country. They're not fighting for the country at all, because
they're fighting for the people around them. Yeah,
exactly. It is my platoon. It is my brothers. I'm fighting for them. I'm getting them out of here. I'm protecting them. That's the mission. Yes, in the beginning when they joined, enlisted, yes, it's for the good of the country. But in the battle zone, in the war zone, they're only there for their brothers. This tribe so uniquely tightened. They have this very, very strong connections.
Yeah, and taking it full circle to what we've done with the 20 people or so that we went through the core values quest with last year. I mean, I don't know about you, but like I'll forever be connected to the people that I mentored and led through that, and
there's always that connections
that
you have, because even if they come back 10 years later, you still know them at some like level that we don't really recognize on a normal day-to-day basis.
It's sharing experience together, and you're sharing emotions together, you're sharing vulnerability together, you're sharing, like, the further that we get apart from each other in like the social media world, like the worse it gets, because you get less vulnerable, you get more polished, you get more, like, I mean, humanity is not polished, we're not like, we shit happens, like bad stuff happens, like you're in the NICU, it happens, you're in war, it happens, you're in 9/11, happens, Hell Week at fraternity stuff happens. I mean, whatever, the bad shit's gonna happen, and humanity isn't clean and polished all the time, right? You can't always just put one particular image out there to everybody all day every day. When you're in these kind of environments, it breaks everything down, and it makes you whatever, it breaks down that veneer, that polished societal front, and it reveals humanity behind it. And that's what we all connect on. That's what matters. That's what we care about. That's what we want to see when we talk to people. That's what we want to hear when we talk to people. That's the band of brothers and sisters that we want to go into any shared mission with, is that deep, real human connection on what really matters in this world, right? Or at least what we think matters.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's
so another thing I want to ask you is that, how vivid do you remember your Hell Week?
Incredibly vivid. I mean,
when you have the strong connections, the elevated emotions, your emotions, your memory becomes so vivid. You're gonna remember forever. That's the only thing. Like the people that fight in the war, right? They will remember exactly, like as if it were yesterday, the clearness of the memory. It is being like etched deep into the memory.
Yeah, you're right. Trauma and pain and suffering definitely does its job to make you remember that.
Yes, and it's very vivid.
Right.
I mean, your Hell Week was like 15 years ago?
Oh, no, longer than that. 2003. So
19?
19 years.
Just imagine how vivid that memory is after 19 years. That means that is a very, very strong connections you made.
Yeah, I'll never forget where I was when 9/11 happened. I'll never forget
exactly where you stood when you saw it.
Yeah, myself.
The moment you mentioned that,
right,
it's deeply etched into the memory bank that it's going to be there forever.
Yeah, and you remember the people you were around then too, and you remember, yeah. So no, the tribe is important, obviously. Like, it's what we're trying to build, and we don't want, and we're taking great pains to make sure that we do it right, and that we build it for generations to come of what we're trying to do, and not just for today and for some sort of a quick win or something like that. Mm-hmm. Like this is about trying to help sustain people to live a balanced existence and do their life on purpose.
Find their purpose and live it on purpose.
Right.
Live the purpose that they set out to find out who they are and live that life. Right. And that, to me, if everybody's doing that, we have a tribe, and we have a tribe that's going to last for many, many thousand years to come. Right. Because to me, what's the point of being alive, right? Is that you're going to allow your life to float aimlessly, or is there something you want to do, you want to achieve, to fulfill?
I think we all want to achieve something and do it with people we like,
belong. For whatever reason, we have that gene of wanting to belong. And in order for us to belong, the best thing I've seen so far is, belong to a band of brothers, a tribe of people with the same mission.
A band of people.
I'm referencing the band of brothers, as the saying goes, but it's the people around you. That's what I mean. That makes you, to me, that makes you have a fulfilled life. To me, that's the key. The key is the people that you live with and you hang out with, interact with. Not just, okay, I did this. Well, what's the matter? If you do something really great, right? The greatest thing, and have no one to tell about. How would that make you feel? You can't tell anyone about it. How would it make you feel?
Pretty awful, actually. I mean, like, yes. I actually was thinking about that this morning. Randomly, it's funny you bring that up, because I'm doing the whole Wim Hof month challenge that I'm doing right now. And after I get done with my breathing exercises, which I'm actually starting to enjoy, we can talk about that after this. In the book, he talks about how you can do a lot of push-ups right afterwards, because your body feels like great, and you just have like this extra level of capacity that you don't even know. So as soon as I get done with the breathing exercises, I've been doing like as many like push-ups as I can do until fatigue, just in one straight swoop, not like no pauses, no anything, just until I literally am like, I can't do another push-up. So before I started this whole challenge, I do push-ups like every day in general, but maybe I could get to like 35 or something like that before I would start to feel that fatigue where I need to take a pause and sit back for a second before I resumed. Well, today I did 58, and I was like, shit, I haven't done that since I was a kid. And it's been increasingly going up every single day that I've been doing this stuff. I say this because you just mentioned that. I thought about that exactly. I was like, man, I'm actually excited to tell True about this,
Yes.
I know my wife doesn't give a shit, and I was like, but to your point, if I didn't have somebody to tell that to, or to share these challenges with, or to do other things with it, what's the point? I mean, I'm impressed, and I'm going to continue to do these things, but at the same time, it's more fun when
it's just not as fun if you can't tell somebody. Yeah. So the point is, we are living for others as well. That means that we're here to make sure we connect and interact with other people. You're excited to tell me, and I'm excited to hear about it. And so that's the connections that makes life enjoyable.
Yeah. Agreed. Well, here's to building a great tribe, and we'll get there someday. But good book, Sebastian. Question for you guys: what's your tribe's mission? And
Do you have
hopefully
a
everybody has
tribe?
one. Yeah, a tribe.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. If you don't, and you're
Yeah,
interested in
Clubney
what
is
we're
a
talking
tribe and
about, let us
Clubney is a
know.
nonprofit. So come check us out. And if you have any questions, just put in the comments and we'll get to you.
We'll talk to you all tomorrow.
See ya.